The Russian army does not have a sufficient reserve of new soldiers. After all, losses on the front lines have reached their highest level since the start of the full-scale war against Ukraine in February 2022. British intelligence suggests that Russia will lose at least 8,000 soldiers daily until the end of August.
Putin needs around 500,000 people in the next 12 months to offset attrition and rotate his troops deployed in Ukraine. Russia's current recruitment strategy, which relies on paying above-market wages to volunteers, will be inadequate to achieve this. Instead, the government is likely to switch its focus to conscripts. Alex Isakov, Bloomberg Economics, Russia economist. Bloomberg writes,
in order to avoid announcing an unpopular mobilization, the Kremlin is forced to look for new approaches to attracting volunteers. Since the end of July, those who sign a contract with the Ministry of Defense will receive a one-time payment from the state, 400,000 rubles. In addition to this amount, volunteers will also be paid from local budgets. However, no payments can solve the problem of increasing the size of the Russian army. Therefore, Ukrainian intelligence is confident that Putin will announce a new mobilization.
Depending on the region, the amounts reach 2 million Russian rubles. This is a huge amount of money for Russia. The answer is obvious. The flow of volunteers is catastrophically decreasing, and in recent months, the Russian army has faced a personnel shortage for the first time. Russia has a mobilization plan, and according to it, almost 10% of the shortage has been recorded. If the protracted war continues, then no later than the summer of 2025, Russia will face a dilemma: either stop all this or announce a repeat large-scale mobilization. The Kremlin will drag it out until the last minute, since, in the opinion of the Russian leadership, large-scale mobilization could seriously undermine the political situation. Kirill Budanov, chief of the main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, writes Forbes Ukraine. A decision on general mobilization would indicate the defeat of Putin's personal position at the moment of conducting the so-called special military operation. Moreover, the point was that the Russian dictator was talking about a limited military contingent that would directly participate in military operations on the territory of Ukraine. There was no talk of conducting general mobilization or the third stage of partial mobilization. Therefore, in my opinion, even the introduction of the third stage of partial mobilization is a serious image loss for the central government and Putin personally. This is evidence that the war has not just knocked on the door of the Russians, but is already being waged directly on Russian territory.
The already deplorable state of the Russian army is demonstrated by the offensive of Ukraine in the Kursk region. Russia is forced to transfer its troops to this direction. Now they're counting on conscripts. Thus, conscripts of the 80th Motorized Rifle Division in the Murmansk region are being prepared for transfer to Kursk, writes the publication agency citing the parents of the soldiers.
Currently, the military unit is preparing conscripts for a trip to the Kursk region. Kursk battalions have been created. This information was confirmed to us by the command at the oath ceremony on August 3rd. There are military operations in the Kursk region, and there is a threat to the lives of our sons. The command does not adhere to Vladimir Putin's statement of June 13, 2023, not to send soldiers on military service to the combat zone. From the statement of the parents of conscripts, the agency news Telegram channel quotes.
Earlier, mothers of other conscripts had already appealed to Putin with a call to withdraw their sons from the Kursk region. Not only did they not withdraw them, but the conscripts who managed to evacuate are also being forced to sign contracts with the Ministry of Defense.
My son called, they were told. You will go there anyway, but now we will pay you combat pay. And if you do not agree, then you will go to court and still go to fight. You will not escape. That is, they are still planning to send them there. They are trying to put moral pressure on them. They are trying to brainwash them and send our children to this hole. The mother of one of the conscripts, the Vorstka Telegram channel quotes.
In total, at least 159 Russian conscripts have been killed in 2.5 years of the war against Ukraine, the BBC calculated. Journalists know that the real figure is probably higher. This is due to the fact that in dozens of cases, the Defense Ministry assures relatives of the deceased that they had voluntarily signed the contracts. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Yulia Granovska, UATV News.